Hello, thank you for joining us for HXGN TV, the online channel for Hexagon's global network of brands. I'm your host, Kathleen McNeil, and today we're here at Holder Construction to discuss BIM. I'm here with David Epps, who is the manager of Building Information Modeling. David, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
So David, to start, can you tell our audience a little bit about Holder Construction and how you use BIM?
Sure. We've used BIM since around 2004. We started kind of leveraging it to facilitate conversations and interaction with design partners and owners at the very beginning. Since then, we've kind of evolved it to be part of our project pursuit phase, through pre-construction, where we work on quantity takeoffs and estimation, taking it into 4D simulations and planning for the project and site logistics, and then all the way through construction, where we facilitate quality, coordination, and then eventually deliver an as-built to the owner at the final of the project. We've kind of leveraged BIM from a central department standpoint, and we've also evolved it into a more project distributed standpoint, where we've brought our BIM team and kind of put them on project sites and helped them understand construction more, made them more of an integral part of the process. We almost really don't even talk about BIM as BIM anymore. It's really just part of how we estimate, how we coordinate, and how we do business.
So when you're out in the market, how do you explain BIM to owners to get them to get excited about it?
So a lot of people have a hard time really understanding 2D documents, right? It's really hard to understand looking at these giant sets of plans and figuring out what that really looks like, what that's going to be. So BIM is, in one sense, a tool to kind of help them visualize what their product is going to look like, what their final deliverable is going to look like. It's kind of a practice run. The way I try to explain it to people is, you think of an IKEA desk that you're putting together, right? You run through that first run, you're going to mess up a lot of stuff along the way, but if you had to build it again, you could probably do it a lot more efficiently. You're going to make a lot less mistakes. BIM is kind of like that from a larger scale construction standpoint. We get to make all of those mistakes on the computer digitally, so we're not actually making those problems happen in the field where it can cause costly change orders and time delays and things like that. So from an owner's standpoint, that means avoiding cost. That means a better quality product that they understand and they have more buy-in on. And at the end of the day, they have a digital as-built, again, that they can use for the life cycle of the project.
So along with all of those benefits, have you found that there's resistance to this new technology?
Absolutely. I mean, with any new technology, any new change, there's always going to be resistance because people fundamentally don't want to change, right? They get comfortable with what they're doing. On our construction sites, that's no different. We have guys with 30, 40 years experience who have been doing this with pencil and paper for years, and they see this new technology as something new they have to learn. They see these kids coming in out of college with iPads and iPhones and trying to change the way they do business, and yeah, they're gonna push back a little bit. But I think our challenge is to help combine their knowledge and expertise in construction and help them kind of take the younger folks under their wing, and they can kind of have cross-pollination and 360 learning. So where the older generation maybe learns a little bit more about technology, but then they can teach the younger generation how construction actually works.
So here at Holder Construction, what are some of the projects you're working on where you're currently using BIM?
We have several. Here in Atlanta, we're working on the new Atlanta Falcons Stadium. Very large project, very high-profile project, really complex design. We have a great series of people involved from an architectural standpoint, from a contractor standpoint. Everybody's really using it. Everybody's bought in from a coordination standpoint. We're doing virtual fly-throughs. We're using laser scanning, doing quantity takeoffs and estimating and 4D simulations. So we're really all in on that one. We've got office buildings all over the country. We're working on the Salt Lake City Airport. A lot of major projects that we're working on right now.
Absolutely. So I understand you use some Leica Geosystems products. Can you talk a little bit about which ones you use and how they've enhanced what you're able to offer?
So we've used Leica Total Stations for years. We have a department called Holder Engineering Services that does the majority of our layout. So they've used Leica products for several years. This past year, we've actually purchased a P20 scanner and integrated that into our workflow. That's actually being used pretty much 100% on that stadium project I mentioned. So we're trying to combine the technology of laser scanning with that of the total stations and trying to develop a workflow that really makes sense, and I think using Leica products really helps that.
So David, looking to the future, where do you think BIM is headed in 2015 and beyond?
And I hope that there's more widespread adoption. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, is facilitate the construction workflow from every step of the process, and getting these tools into the hands of the guys actually building the work is really the most important part of my job. So mobile technology is going to be a huge part of that. Getting all these models and all this information into a format that people can consume, whether that be iPad or mobile kiosks on the job site and things like that. That's really going to be a big part of our job. But then from another standpoint, we have laser scanners. We're going to get and become much more of an imperative process of the workflow, so we can verify what we're actually building, make sure that it's actually being put in place the way we coordinated and planned it. I think that that's going to facilitate the prefabrication conversation. The more information and the more stuff that we can build off-site and bring to the job site actually ready to go is going to be really helpful from an efficiency and a quality and a safety standpoint. And then 4D scheduling, I think that the tools and the processes are becoming a lot more efficient. It's always been a challenge to do that on job sites to really help plan a job with the technology that we have, but I think the technologies are really getting to a stage where it can be an efficient part of our workflow, and we can really plan ahead of time and actually make it an integral part of our process. And then there's always these future concepts like augmented reality and drones, and it's really exciting to kind of think about where that's going to hit the industry and how those things are going to change the way that we fundamentally build as builders.